Hello everyone, my name is Alon Burstein. I am a visiting assistant professor in the Department of Political Science and an Israel Institute Fellow in the University of California, Irvine, and I am here to give you the latest updates the last 24 hours in the Israel-Hamas war. It is currently the eve of October 12th, 2023 in the United States, the morning of October 13th, 2023 in the Middle East, and as always I'll remind viewers that if you're interested in the summaries from the past days or information of what happened in the first days of the outbreak of this initial attack on October 7th, you can click on links in the first comment and below this video. So starting with some reports from the ground, the ongoing fighting. The reports from yesterday that Hamas had released a woman that was captured and held hostage along with her two children on Saturday appear to have been premature. Hamas said that it released a woman and two children. This appears to have been an attempt by Hamas to counter some of the international support that Israel is receiving and the bad press that it is getting because of its action. However, the IDF suggests that this was a video actually taken already on Saturday. This is not something new. This is something that occurred during the initial attack and the initial taking of hostages. Either way, the woman has not been released. Between Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, there are still between 130 and 150 hostages, Israeli civilians and military personnel that are held hostage and were kidnapped into the Gaza Strip. This includes men, women, teenagers, children, infants, as well as elderly people. Meanwhile, there are continuous attacks that are going on by Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad fighters inside Israel. Today, a Hamas attacker was killed in the village of Kisufim, and two Palestinian Islamic Jihad fighters were captured near the town of Beersheba. As I say every day, it is still unclear if these are fighters that came in the initial invasion on October 7th, or if these are new infiltrations that are happening. The IDF is still trying to figure out how to secure the border and how to stop these infiltrations. In addition, there were continued rockets fired today from Gaza into the south and central Israel. There were missiles into the towns of Ashdod, Beit Shemesh, and Beersheba, among others. However, there were less missiles and rockets than the previous days. The IDF is suggesting that this is because Hamas is starting to conserve its rocket arsenal in preparation for a prolonged war. Looking at Israel's retaliations, after forming a unity government, Netanyahu today officially declared war in the Knesset. This was not done until now. This enables the government to galvanize all kinds of other resources. In terms of Israel's actual retaliations, the IDF has so far carried out over 6,000 air raids and bombings into the Gaza Strip, dropping over 4,000 tons of bombs into the area. Just for some comparison, according to military experts, this accounts for the amount of bombs and ammunition that the United States used in Afghanistan throughout an entire year. The IDF has used in less than a week. So that's just to give us some proportions. The Palestinian Ministry of Health is so far reporting 1,537 people that have died in these attacks, as well as 6,600 wounded, and a large contingent of those dead, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, are children. In addition, over 400,000 people, according to the United Nations, have been internally displaced in the Gaza Strip. And leading up to what may come in the coming days, in the last hour, the IDF sent a message to the United Nations ordering them to assist in the evacuation of all civilians in the Gaza Strip from the northern region, to pull everyone back. This is not realistic. It is 1.1 million people that are being ordered to evacuate from an area that would be north of the Gaza River, or what's called Wadi Aza. However, this is likely in preparation of a ground invasion in the coming days. In addition to that, two other regions that have seen violence. In the old city of Jerusalem, there was a Palestinian terror attack and two policemen were injured, and there was another attack that was carried out in the West Bank. In addition, it was reported that in the anti-tank missile that was fired yesterday on the Lebanese border, an Israeli soldier was killed. Now turning to some of the political and more general trends that are going on. Tomorrow, Friday, October 13th, there are all kinds of rumors circulating and messages being circulated that Hamas has called for a day of rage, a day of international jihad against Jews and Israelis, calling on Jews to be attacked everywhere in the world. For what it's worth, this is not actually what the Hamas message said. In the initial Hamas message, they did call for a day of rage in which they called upon Palestinians to try to resist the Israeli military, and they called on, among other things, all people in the what they call free world to express solidarity with the Palestinians. There was no actual call for violence. That, of course, does not matter because most of the announcements that are circulating are calls for violence against Jews and Israelis around the world, and there's a lot of tension surrounding that. Meanwhile, other political developments. Iran's foreign minister arrived today in Beirut and met with delegates of Hezbollah, the Amal movement, the Hamas movement, and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Unclear what was said in this meeting, but this contributes to all the assessments that Iran is involved in at least helping to coordinate and facilitate these attacks that are going on in Israel. Again, I stress this does not say that Iran was behind the attacks, that Iran actually orchestrated them, but that they are facilitating wherever they can. In addition, the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is visiting Israel. He made several statements. He said that in Hamas's initial attack, there were citizens of 36 different countries that were slaughtered. And therefore, the entire world should be condemning Hamas and again comparing Hamas to the type of violence that was carried out by ISIS. Blinken also specifically accused the chairman of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, for not condemning the attack. Abbas, in the initial hours of the attack, put out statements in support of Hamas, saying the Palestinian Hamas has the right to defend the Palestinian people, and then fell silent. Several hours after Blinken made this statement, when Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, was meeting with the King of Jordan, he did put out a statement condemning the murder of innocent civilians on all sides. In addition to that, other political developments, the United Kingdom has announced that it is going to send 2 warships into the area in order to support Israel, and is going to conduct intelligence flights in the region. So this is now the second country after the United States that is actually sending active military, its own military personnel to the region in light of the ongoing developments. France also issued supporting statements throughout the day, but it's unclear if there's going to be any material changes from France as well. In addition, there are some mounting reports that there may have been some Israeli intelligence that indicated on the night of the attack that something big was going to happen the next day. Right now, this is kept very secret. It's all speculation, but there are going to be rumors starting to circulate more and more. And finally, the last political development, Egypt made an announcement today, formally offering its services to start negotiations between the sides without any preconditions. This is significant because historically, whenever there are rounds of violence between Israel and Hamas, they tend to go on for a long time without any negotiations until everyone turns to Egypt and Egypt manages to broker some sort of ceasefire. Egypt this time is trying to enter into the negotiation stage even earlier, possibly even preempting an Israeli ground invasion. It is unlikely that that is going to actually prevent an Israeli ground invasion in light of the extent of the attack and the hostages that are still being held, but that is a development that we're going to wait and see in the coming days. That is our update for the last 24 hours, and I will be back tomorrow.